Greetings, audience, listeners, all you wonderful people out there. This is Jo. Welcome back to the Esoterics Podcast.
And I'm Fioraliz. Today we are going to discuss 11 life lessons your soul is here to learn.
Oh, that's good. I feel like I have more than 11, though.
Right. Well, master numbers, right?
Right. I feel like I have like 1,000. All right, good. So I'm excited to talk about this.
Yeah, me too. But first, what's going on with you? What's new?
Well, you know what? I want to start off this week talking about the big astro-lunar events that are going on. All right, so we got two big things going on this week.
Mm-hmm.
We have Pluto in retrograde, and then we have the lunar eclipse.
Yeah.
Pluto, it's going to be retrograde in Aquarius until June 11th, right? But then it's going to go back into Capricorn for most of 2024, right? And after that, then it's going to move into Aquarius for good. All right. So,
yeah.
because Pluto is subtle and it works on those deeper layers, we're probably going to only really see and understand our transformation, because Pluto is about transformation, after we sort of are standing in 2025 and looking back and going, I see. It's because when it's in Aquarius, it brings a lot of power to our spiritual advancement. So I don't know about you, but my intuitive abilities have been off the fucking hook lately. What about yours?
Oh, yeah. I was going to tell you. So this morning I posted this meme about Jesus. And it was funny because it just says, I'm not a Christian, but I can read. And as far as I can tell, Jesus was supposed to be the most woke guy who ever lived. And to be anti-woke is the most un-Christian thing imaginable. And I had posted that, and I wrote, like, to be honest, Jesus is the homie. And then as soon as I started like thinking about it, and I was like, you are the homie, Jesus. Like my ear started like tingling, and then my crown lit up. Like as soon as I started like thinking about him, and I started laughing, because he's just like this like joyous spirit, which like I love to connect with that. But yes, so absolutely,
he is my favorite ascended master to connect to. He is what I call the original down ass dude, right? He is cool as fuck, and he is got a great sense of humor too. So he is a wonderful energy. And he, whenever I say Jesus, he goes Yeshua. He's, you know what I mean? So it's just a really cool. Yeah, he's definitely cool. So right now what's going on is, we're all going through that spiritual advancement. All of my psychic friends are all like, my abilities are off the hook. But what's happening too is this also bringing about our shadow side in order, because Pluto is about transformation. So it's supporting death, rebirth, and transformation. So it can feel a little bit rough for people. Especially when it's combined with that lunar eclipse in Scorpio that's coming up in a couple days on Friday the 5th, right?
Yeah. And then that's also the 5/5 portal.
We're going to talk about that, because that is cool as hell. All right. So basically, here's the thing about that lunar eclipse. Okay, so full moon eclipses, they bring endings, closure, transformative events, and it helps us to shift from one consciousness or perspective into the next. So it's helping with the transformation. So when we embrace that sudden change, we allow ourselves to sort of release the past and move into that, right? Flow with it. But listen, embracing change doesn't have to feel cataclysmic. It can be as simple as learning, your lash girl is moving and you need a new one. Or anything else that feels sort of like an inconvenience, and just learning to say, okay, universe, I accept that I can't do shit about this. It sucks, but I can't do shit about it. So let's see what comes in to take its place. So that's how you start embracing change. Because a lot of people don't, they don't like to, especially if they have a 5 in their core numerology chart, like we do. Or if they have any major planets in like the 4th, 8th, or 10th house too. Not big fans of change.
Oh, okay.
Right. And I'm looking at you, Taurus, Virgo, and Cap. And I would also say, finally, just to wrap it up about this phase of or just about change is that I wouldn't look at any of it as destabilization, which is why people don't like change, because they're like, your shit's changing, it's destabilizing. And instead think of it as like a master adventure or something, which I know it's hard, but it's more fun that way.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the numerology of the sucker, because it is so fucking cool. All of the number nerds that are listening to us will love it.
Mm-hmm.
This lunar eclipse falls on the 5th day of the 5th month at 14 degrees Scorpio in the northern hemisphere.
Oh my God. Another 5. And then it's also 2023.
Yes. Okay.
Which also reduces down to 5.
Yes, right. And what is 5 about? Of course, change. The other cool number breakdown that takes place in the southern hemisphere, all right, when the eclipse falls on May 6th, which is 5/6, which is a master number 11 at 3:33 a.m.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So you've got that 11 master number energy, which is a double 1 energy of new directions, new opportunities, transformation. See, it all ties together. And then also taking place at 3:33 is really significant because 333 is the number of the ascended masters. Who are we just talking about?
Yeah. Jesus.
Ascended masters, ascension, representing an elevated expression of self. Again, death, rebirth, and transformation. For the Bible folks, it's resurrection.
Mm-hmm.
Also interesting is the Sabian symbol. And we talked about the Sabian symbol in episode 70 of this podcast. The Sabian symbol correlated with 14 degrees of Scorpio is children playing with 5 mounds of sand.
Oh, okay.
Right? So there's that 5 again. For those that don't know, Sabian symbols are phrases that are channeled by psychic medium, or that were channeled by psychic medium Elsie Wheeler back in like the 20s for each degree of the zodiac. So listen to episode 70. It's really interesting. All right. So to wrap all this cosmic recipe of badassity, up, the lunar eclipse in Scorpio, of course, represents rebirth and transformation. So it's no coincidence, says the universe, that everything is all tied together. And honestly, you guys, if there were ever a full moon that could shine a light on who we're fucking meant to be, this is the one. This really is the one. Yep. Like we say, can't make this stuff up, but, the more that I work in the Akashics, with numerology, astrology, and the more I see our soul blueprints, it's like they're these meticulously crafted blueprints using all of those modalities that give us the support we need in order to master our soul plan. So that's the coolness of what's coming up here this week.
Very nice.
I know, right? It's cool.
How are you actually going to utilize this energy? Like what?
Great question. What do we do with this? Using the energy of Pluto retrograde, I would say look back over your life, start back in October of 2022. What's changed since then? A shit ton has changed for me. Mm-hmm. What changes have been made? What do you still need to adjust? I would get in touch with your shadow side. What needs to be shown the light, or what is the eclipse shining light upon, and then work on releasing, things you can't control, really assessing all of the situations in your life where you feel disempowered and, working on those, doing the inner work, of course.
Okay.
It's always what it is.
So I would say a simple prompt for that would be ask yourself, what kind of life do you want to live?
Yes.
And write that out. What does that look like? And then follow it up with what thoughts or beliefs do you have that may hold you back or get in the way of achieving that life?
Yeah. Beautiful. And that's the same for eclipse. The eclipse, I don't think that it's any different because the eclipse is hugely transformative when it comes to shadow. So focus on shadow in this week and, this eclipse window.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So what else is new? You got events or stuff coming up, or what have you been doing?
I do actually. Let's see. I have I just launched a virtual workshop, how to open and work with your Akashic record.
Amazing.
I'm excited. I've been bugged by spirit to do it. I finally did it.
And when is that?
That is May 21st, and that is a 3-hour virtual workshop. There are also 2 follow-up virtual work groups, Q&A sessions that are 90 minutes that are following like 2 weeks later. So it's all spread out over the course of several weeks. And then it comes with a workbook with all the instructions, tools, resources, exercises, everything that you need to get started on developing your own practice, working with your own Akashic record.
Awesome. And that's going to be recorded as well, right?
It's going to be recorded. So anybody that can't make it live can listen to the recording. So yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, just register joefigueras.com, click on classes and workshops, and you can do that from your phone or your laptop. Real simple.
Awesome. Very nice.
And then the last thing that I have is that I just launched a new reading, and I'm calling it Messages from the Womb, Pre-Birth Communication. Yeah, so it's for soon-to-be parents to come to understand their child's life path and purpose and all that good stuff. So this was also something that was picking at me and nudging and stuff. And the thing is that because I help souls write their soul blueprints on the other side and then help them interpret them in this side, this is a natural progression. And I asked Spirit, why do you want me to do this? And they said, basically because they said, more and more starseeds are born. They're being born to help evolve and ascend this fucking shit show of inhumanity that we find ourselves in. Right. And so many starseeds are like, why am I here? So many starseeds come to my readings and they're like, I don't understand why I'm here. I don't understand. This life feels wrong. It feels off. I don't belong here. These weirdos are not my people.
Yeah.
Right. And so these humans need guidance, and they need parents to know that they picked. The parents need to know that they were picked for a very specific reason, and that it helps them to know why. Like, what are their past lives together? Why did they choose them as their parent? How mom and dad can best support. So Spirit is having me go all the way from babies to starseed to help these people, these beautiful souls, understand that they're here to help ascend. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. It's very cool. It's a super fun reading. It was really fun. So if you're pregnant or you have a baby or you're a papa who wants to hear from your baby, it's not just for women. Visit my website to book.
It would also be really cool as a gift too. Like that would be an awesome like baby shower gift.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah, that would be really sweet.
I'm going to market that on the socials as a baby shower gift.
Yeah, it's an awesome baby shower gift.
Yay. Yeah. So switch it up. What's going on with you?
So I have my next event is a cacao circle, and this is taking place again at Raincross District. This one I scheduled for a Sunday night. So this is May 28th, a Sunday at 6 p.m.
Nice.
We're probably going to end about 8:30 p.m. But registration is open now. You can find all the details on my website, fioraliz.com/events.
And cacao is really relaxing, yes?
Yeah, it is. And it's perceived as a heart-opening medicine. Yeah. So it just allows you to tune into that frequency of being a little more open and willing to acknowledge your healing work.
Yeah. Wow. Very cool. Very cool. So are we ready to talk about the 11 life lessons our soul is here to learn?
Yes.
Let's get to it. Super excited.
Okay. So these are 11 things your soul wants you to learn about the human experience.
Okay.
So the first one is to learn to be compassionate. Loving and understanding people and their journeys without holding them in judgment is the greatest gift you can give someone and yourself. Just accepting people for who they are and offering help when they need it, cheering them on, and most importantly, showing respect and love have effects way beyond them.
Girl, that's so hard. Being a Libra, I would think it would be easier, but you know what? That's hard. That's a hard one.
Yeah, it is, because I think maybe putting yourself in someone else's shoes isn't always the easiest. As you know, it's easy to say or it's easy to tell someone, but putting it into practice.
It's hard.
So, I think that's going to be the common theme with all of these is like they are lessons, and so they're not necessarily going to be super easy.
Yeah.
The second one, it's probably not that hard, is to learn to be inquisitive.
Ooh.
Being inquisitive is more than just asking questions. It is having a genuine curiosity about the world around you. The happiest and most successful people are those who are actively curious. When you are inquisitive, you recognize that there is always more to learn, and you want to be in constant state of exploration into topics that will help you grow.
I love asking questions. I love getting to the deeper meaning. That's the 7. If you have a 7 in your core chart, you're naturally inquisitive and just want to peel the layers back of all of that. So I don't have a hard time with that one.
Yeah, I don't either. Especially, I find myself doing it more with people. And not obviously not everyone, but there's some people where I just want to know like what makes you tick.
Right.
Like where do you come from? Like, what do you know?
What's your story?
How do you express yourself? What's your story? Yeah, I love that. Number 3, learn to be optimistic. How you look at things has been linked to your success. A primary reason for this is because you have a positive outlook, you are more resilient, and the most essential characteristic of being human is being alive. And optimism can play an essential role in many aspects of life, including in the recovery from illness. Multiple studies have investigated the role of optimism in people undergoing treatment for life-threatening diseases. Studies show optimistic people experience less stress and have more of a fighting spirit. And if this is true for people facing possible death, think of how it can affect everyday challenges.
And she's not talking about toxic positivity. She's just talking about, remaining optimistic, which is a lot easier once you do the shadow work, when you do the inner work. It's just easier to be like, all right, okay, this isn't what I want, but let's try to find the silver lining.
Yeah. I think what also helps is when you take that moment to ask, again, like kind of reaching into that curiosity thing of, what is this here to teach me?
It's teaching me, yes.
Yeah, what's this teaching me?
Optimism. Yep. Okay, good.
Number 4, learn to be mindful. Mindfulness is simply the focus of your attention on the present moment, but it is anything but simple. With chaotic schedules, multitasking, and overworked society that we're in, it's often hard to remain in the present and not get lost in the chaos that surrounds us. Mindfulness has roots in Buddhism, but most religions and spiritual practices include some attention towards love, kindness, and appreciation for a perspective on life that is bigger than oneself.
Yeah. That one's a little bit easier than compassion, being mindful, being aware in the moment and everything.
Yeah, because mindfulness is more going inward, whereas compassion is going outward, right?
Yeah. And then, like you said a little while ago, asking yourself, well, what can I learn from this? And maybe tweaking it and saying, well, what's happening in this moment, what I'm experiencing, what, as I, what is my perspective in this moment?
Yeah. Also the release of the past and letting things that have already happened, let them go, and not dwelling in that energy of where things don't always go right. They don't always go our way, but you have the present moment, and that's really all you have.
Yeah. What is that? The present is a present because it's whatever that is. Yeah.
Oh, because it's a gift. Yeah.
Some old white guy said.
It sounds like some Eckhart Tolle shit.
Probably.
Number 5, embrace confidence. Confidence is knowing who you are, where you are going, and the value you contribute while taking action to support your goals. Many people mistake confidence with an arrogance, and that stems from low self-esteem, and it comes from a place of not understanding your true talents. Confidence is an essential ingredient in creating the life you love and in shaping the interactions with people around you. Don't hide the things you are good at, and don't be afraid to talk about your goals. Doing so serves you and those around you.
Nice.
How do you feel about talking with your goals with others? I think you have to have like discernment of who you do it with.
Yeah, there's so many interesting memes out there about, set your goals, stay quiet about them, smash the fuck out of them, but then there's also something to be said for, manifesting generators. They're meant to inform and say, this is my goal. And, so it really does depend. I do try to keep any sort of superstition out of it, but also remember who is really going to support my goals. Honestly, you can look at your friend circle Anybody
Mm-hmm.
can. And they know that these people, these specific people, or this person is not going to support them being more successful than them, because they're going to internalize it and make it about them instead of their successful friend. So there's 1,000, it's like there's 50 shades of gray when it comes to this. I only just talk about my my goals with people that I know that are going to support me.
I would question, like, if you have a friend group, or if you have a person in your friend group that you wouldn't share, your goals with or your dreams with, why are you friends with them?
I know, but it's not as easy as that, because maybe these people, you've been friends with them since they were little and they have unhealed trauma that they haven't addressed, So, all right,
Sure.
this is just one friend. I'm not gonna, name names, and they don't listen to the pod anyway. So, and I love her, and we've been friends since we were like, oh my God, like, 7, 8 years old. But when I made the move out here, it was basically, it's not like she was done with me, but she's like, well, I just like, we're not going to be able to be close. So it was like she removed herself, it was like she ripped off the Band-Aid, and it hurt my feelings, because I was like, wait a minute, we're still friends. We can still talk. We can still Zoom. We can do all these things. But it just slowly, the relationship has gone away. And so it's not that she doesn't want me to be happy. It's that she doesn't support me, doing anything that's going to not give her access to me, I guess.
Or require work or require effort.
Yes. And that's related directly to her upbringing, her trauma, her wounding, her childhood, her parents, and just, it's all related to that. So I love her, and we still talk, but it's just not the same. So I don't really want to get rid of her, but also she's not the person that I call and I'm like, dude, I just, booked a gig at the biggest psychic, bookstore in the city. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you wouldn't. Yeah, she wouldn't be the person to share. Yeah, see, and I don't know. I think I've gravitated away from, I call them convenient friendships. Where like people are only friends with you because it's convenient to them. And I see this the most with work, like with work friends, right? They're friends with you because you work together, because they have access to you on the daily or whatever. But then as soon as you stop working there, you're not friends anymore because it's no longer convenient, which I'm like, that's bullshit.
Right. Especially if you love them, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not like Joseph, who you guys will be friends until the end,
Yeah. Yeah. And he but again, like, he makes the effort, like he puts in the effort to be a friend and to send a text or to share, even if it's fucking sharing a TikTok video, like just to like show someone that you're thinking about them, that you care, that you have something joyful that you want to share with them. Like, that's enough. Like, I don't even require you calling me on the phone. But like just that little thing, that shows me that there's the effort there, and that's enough.
And a lot of times you don't understand the impact. So the other day I was thinking about this woman that I have an amazing and incredible amount of respect for, from my hometown. She was a local news anchor, and I just love her. When I was little, I used to watch her on TV, and then when I grew up and I opened the studio, she came in, and I was like, oh my God, it was like meeting my idol, right? Just this amazing woman. Come to find out, she's very spiritual. So I'm sitting there the other day, and I'm in meditation, and all of a sudden I got this message for her, and I was like, oh, and I texted her and I said, hey, I just want you to know I'm thinking about you, and this came through for you, and I miss you, and I hope everything is great. She sent me an email back, and she's like, oh my God, are you freaking kidding me? That's exactly what I needed. I just asked the universe for validation on that. She said, you just nailed it. That's exactly what I need. Thank you so much.
That's awesome.
The point is that when you feel called to reach out to somebody, even if it might be slightly inconvenient, freaking do it, because you don't know, you might be working through spirit to deliver a message that they really, really need.
Yep, absolutely. All right, number 6, learn to love life. Where confidence is about you, enthusiasm is about life. Enthusiasm is infectious, and people connect with you based on your passion for your work and your life. There are few things more enjoyable than talking with someone who is enthusiastic and passionate about something.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. I love talking to people, even if it's about something that, like, I have zero interest in like ever doing myself. Just seeing that person like light up. Yeah, I love that.
That is my favorite thing, to see people light up. And I ask people, I'm like, I hate asking people, what do you do for a living? Because, you know, it's usually something they don't care about.
It's
or
small
they don't
talk.
like. But I like saying, what lights you up? And
Mhm.
people do light up even before they start talking about it. They're like,
yeah. I love that. Number 7, learn to be purposeful. There's a lot of talk around finding your purpose and passion, but the reality is that being human and relatable might be all the purpose you need.
yeah.
When you make your actions purposeful and do things that make you feel good, you are living your truth.
Yeah.
And there is nothing more human than that.
No, and we love relatable people. I think everybody loves somebody they can relate to.
Yes. Yeah. And it's going to look different for everyone. But I think we have that sensory of when someone's being fake, or when someone's, just not being honest, or they're trying to like put on this facade of the person that they want everyone to interpret them being or whatever, versus when someone's just like authentic. But this is where I kind of struggle with social media, and especially like social media marketing, because I feel like it's supposed to be this kind of niche, right? And you're supposed to follow this like idea of, oh, well, you only post this kind of content. But like, for example, like if you look at my TikTok, like that shit's like mixed.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have such varied interests. Like, yes, I like spiritual woo stuff. And I'll also post like funny shit about like the dogs and the bird and all that stuff. But you'll also catch me talking shit on people's like on horrible house listings, or some people's questionable interior design choices. So, but that's like who I am. And I'm not saying like I'm a person that talks shit all the time. I'm saying like I am a person that can find humor in things. And it's a specific humor, I understand. But that's the thing of like, I can't be just one way. You can't just stick me in a box. Like I have many things that I like to do.
Exactly. I struggled with that when I first started, working with people and all that. And I'm like, man, don't put me on a spiritual pedestal. One person told me that I can't have emotions or be shadow because then they don't look up to me as much. And I'm like, well, then I guess you don't fucking look up to me as much, because I'm the most shadowy person you'll know. And as for you, you literally you do not talk shit about people. It's very rare that you do. And when you do, it's because you're pissed.
Yeah.
And then it's not even shit. It's you're voicing, you're pissed and why and everything. So,
yeah.
So when you do in a funny way, it's hilarious actually.
And I would only do it to critique a home. I wouldn't do it to a person. Okay. Number 8, realize your energetic potential. What good is having goals, asking questions, and taking purposeful actions with confidence without the energy to act? To harness your natural energy potential, you must take care of yourself. A healthy body, mind, and heart are necessary to keep you operating at your potential.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
I think that digs into your routines, right? Like your self-care. What do you do to take care of yourself? Because that long said thing of like, you can't fill from an empty cup, right? Like you have to take care of yourself first so that you have the energy to go out and do all the things, reach your goals, work with others, whatever that looks like for you. But yeah, you have to take care of yourself first.
Yeah. And self-care also is about asking for your needs to be met from your partners and your friends and, all of that stuff, saying, hey, I need this from you. Can you do this for me?
Yeah. Asking for help.
Yes. Too. Asking for help for your needs to be met, for asking, putting yourself and your needs and your desires and wants and making them a priority. Can we go back to 7? Because there's something that I want to touch on about 7. So will you read 7 again?
Yeah. So it was learn to be purposeful.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talk about finding your purpose and passion, but the reality is that being human and relatable might be all the purpose you need. When you make your actions purposeful, do things that make you feel good, you are living your truth, and there is nothing more human than that.
Yeah. So the reason I wanted to circle back to that is because in the Akashic Records, your soul blueprint, your life purpose, your path, it's not an occupation. It is like you said, being relatable. It's you being you. It's being your most authentic self. It's learning how to master all of those character traits that you have within you and bring balance to them so that you are your most authentic version of self. And that's what finding your purpose is. And some people have a purpose of a 2, which would be to be a healer or a harmonizer. Other people have a purpose of 5, where they need their primary focus is to learn discipline in freedom. And then others have the 9, which would be humanitarian efforts. So they're all different, but I just really wanted to circle back to that one because it's such a misnomer that, our purpose is an occupation. It's not.
Yeah. And that's a great tip for anyone who's searching for that, is what you just said. Look into your numerology and see what that your core chart says about you.
Yes. And then if you have the ability to compare it with, your nodes, your midheaven, your Chiron, your, all of those sort of very specific aspects of your astrology chart.
Yes. Number 9 is learn to overcome fear. Everyone experiences fear. It's an ordinary and essential emotion.
Yep.
The problem is not in having fears. The problem is when you live in fear and allow fear to prevent you from achieving your potential.
Bingo. That is the problem.
There's something that I've heard recently too, because just being able to distinguish from ego versus intuition, that ego, which is a lot of times is where the fear, kind of pops out at us, is loud. Fear is loud. It's that blaring alarm. It's the crippling feeling. Whereas intuition is calm. It's persistent, but it's not loud.
Ego is FOMO, fear of missing out. Ego is something bad's going to happen if I don't. Ego is fear and feeling frightened. It's anxiety. Intuition is expansion and excitement and peace and knowing. And there are these beautiful subtle differences that really aren't all that subtle, but it's really about learning your own body and what are you experiencing in your body.
Yeah. A couple of tips, I think, for this one. One, I think, would be your human design, learning your human design. And so understanding where messages come from your, through your body, how they work through you. And the other thing I would say is shadow work, because that's when you address the things that you are afraid of. And then you get down to the core of what belief systems, what trauma, what you have, where did that come from? Where did the fear come from? And then acknowledging it and accepting okay, that's what I've learned, but that's not who I have to continue to be.
Right. Exactly. That's learned stuff that you can overcome. So I want to go back to human design for a minute for those that aren't aware of it. So learning your human design, these 2 elements is really important. The first thing is called your not self theme. And that is the emotion that you feel when you're out of alignment, when things are not going right, when you're not making decisions based on your human design. And for generators and manifesting generators, like Fioraliz and I, it's frustration.
Yeah.
So whenever we feel frustration, we know, stop. You're not going to go. This isn't going to work for you. Try another way. When we feel satisfaction, then we're like, yeah, man, we're on the right track. This is good.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I've learned that to communicate that, because I feel like in my close relationships, when I am frustrated, people just perceive that as angry. Yeah. It's I'm not angry, I'm just frustrated.
Right. It's not the same thing. Yeah.
All right. Number 10, learn to be willful. Willpower is our capacity to choose what is right for us long term and not give in to immediate temptations.
Girl, it's all right. That's not
In
me.
short, willpower is what keeps us on the path to a happier life. Willpower is sort of like a muscle. It gets stronger to use, but can get tired or injured with overuse. So avoiding the overuse of our willpower muscle, quote unquote, is why there is so much talk about small changes, small actions, and low doses of information. We want just enough to keep us moving forward, but not too much that we choose to give up instead or get overwhelmed, burnt out, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. I struggle with it because of my Solar 5, freedom and discipline. It's that discipline portion. So I had to do a lot of work around willpower versus discipline. Discipline is punitive. Willpower is making choices that support your desired outcomes. And it is very, very difficult sometimes to do that. More difficult than you would think. You might want to lose 20 pounds, but the choice that you have in front of you when you make that doesn't support that, there's other reasons that you've made that. So again, shadow work.
Yeah. I think the other thing that I've learned is about honoring your cycles. For me, like I've had to, when I get that spurt of like, I want to create, I want to do stuff, I'm going to like plan this thing, I'm going to map it all out, blah, blah, blah. I have to like get into it then, like when I feel called to do it, right? And then on the days where like I don't want to do anything related to that, I don't want to look at the emails or whatever. I just won't. Like I have to learn to honor and what I've found is what happens when I do that, especially on those days where like I don't want to do anything, if I honor it for that one day, it leaves because I've given it its space. And so then the next day won't feel so heavy. But when you fight it, or at least for me, when I fight it, it's like it never goes away because it's like it's not feeling seen. And I'm not honoring, the way that I'm feeling, my body or whatever's going on. I'm trying to push through that or whatever. And it doesn't work.
That makes absolute sense. Remember when we were going through all of that Aries energy and it was all like go, motivation and get stuff done. I joined the gym and I was doing all these things, and I'm still doing that, right? But I've decided that I have to do what you just talked about, which is honoring the part of me that's like, but also not allowing it to run the show, So like after I have a reading this afternoon, and then I'm going to get my ass to the gym at least for, a little bit of weight training, just so that I'm still consistently making decisions that support the outcomes that I want, even if right now I'm kind of dragging my feet a little bit. So, it's hard. That's the hardest one, number 11, I think. For me. For me, it is.
Yeah. And I think a clue you've given is your numerology has a lot to do with how these are easier or more difficult.
It totally does, because I have no problem staying focused and consistent on things that require like organization and, like record keeping and stuff like that. No problem. But man, when it comes to any sort of physical activity, I don't enjoy it. I like to ride my bike, and I like to hike, and I like to do yoga and stretching, and I like the feeling of working out. But I have a hard time getting motivated to get there and then get started.
All right. Number 11, learn to be grateful. Being grateful is at the core of being human. When things get tough, it can be challenging to remain in a grateful space. We all have those moments. It is gratitude that gets us through this time and makes us even more resilient for the next challenge. Even when it's difficult, look for anything really, that you can express gratitude for, and watch how your perception begins to change. Being grateful and expressing our appreciation is what makes us our best human self. Okay, I've had this recently where I felt like I was just kind of going through the days. And one thing that changed that thought pattern for me was to just find something pretty, like out of my day, and take a picture of it. And then like when Mike comes home from work, like we'll talk about it, or I'll share it with him or something, just to like, and when you have that, you're reprogramming yourself to look out for that thing. Like, because I was like, well, what's my pretty thing for today? Even if it's like for example, mine recently was my rose bushes started to bloom, and they came with the most beautiful pink roses. And so just like taking a picture of that, like it just it doesn't have to be a major thing, but just something small to look at and acknowledge and be grateful for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't struggle with that at all. I feel that I am very grateful. I give appreciation to the universe all day long, every day, for all of my blessings. And I also give appreciation to my challenges. And I say, okay, fuck off, challenge, but I appreciate what you're about to teach me or show me or help me overcome. So I like that. I like that one. I thought that the discipline was number 11, but no, I'm glad that it ended with something so amazing like gratitude and appreciation.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. And so I just want to end with a quote by Wayne Dyer. And this is, begin to see yourself as a soul with a body rather than a body with a soul.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I would love to hear from anybody that actually went out and read or purchased the book that we talked about in the last episode, My Life After Death, a memoir by Eric Medus, because Fioraliz came across these 11 topics when we were sort of, looking at that topic. And then we decided to turn it, or she decided to turn it into a full episode, which I'm so glad you did. But that's exactly what Eric sort of speaks to, is Wayne Dyer's quote that, listen, our real life is not there on earth as humans. Our real life is in spirit form. So, I know it takes a little bit of a faith, to believe it, but I think that's a much more beautiful way of looking at life, that I'm a spirit in human form.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, friends, that means it's time for us to say goodbye. Listen, if you enjoyed today's episode, please share it on your stories specifically. Subscribe, leave us a review. This helps our podcast grow, and it helps us be able to better bring you these weekly episodes.
Thank you all for hanging out with us today. Stay mystical, magical, and don't let anyone tell you what to do.
Bye.